Hello, am I audible to all of you? Okay, so good evening to all of you. Welcome to class. How are you all? Yeah, good evening to everybody. So we can start with the class. Today we are going to discuss about export trade, export and import trade, and export management as well. Okay, so do you remember what we did in the last class of export trade and documentation? Who all were there? In the last class of export, trade and documentation, we discussed different types of documents which are involved in the whole process of export and import trade. If you remember, we discussed bill of lading, letter of credit, and some other documents as well, isn't it? We discussed about balance of payment and balance of trade also. Balance of payment and balance of trade. Okay, we discussed about that as well. So we'll just continue with that. One minute. Great. I was just waiting because some students are still entering the class. I could see them entering. Okay, let's just now start. Let them join. So the first presentation that we'll be discussing is on export and import trade, and the next one is on export management. You know, any activity is incomplete without management. Good evening. Good evening to the new student. I'm not able to pronounce your name properly. Let me see. It is Muttarasan. Is that so? Have I pronounced it correctly? Okay. So is this your first class? Prabha, good evening. Rajiv, good evening. Okay, first in this subject. Alright. Okay, I'm seeing you for the first time in my class, so that is why I asked that question. You can see the recording for the previous classes to catch up with what has been covered so far. Alright? Okay. So we can just start with the class. So this is on import and export. I hope everyone understands import. Sanubar, can you tell me what is import? Purchasing goods. Okay, but is that enough? Nazar, can you tell me? Nixon, Rahul, Monachin. Imports are, the term import is used for the goods which are purchased from the foreign country. Is it so? When trading is done beyond the boundaries of the country, that is import and export trade. And importing is taking goods from the foreign country and paying them in their currency. Yes, Surajit, it's bringing goods from one country to another. Then export is when you send your goods across to other countries, when you sell goods overseas. Alright? Yes, Sonobar, that is importing. So Mohammad Rezai. Good evening and welcome to class. Are you a new student? Okay, so let us just continue. Imports are, it is derived from the conceptual meaning as to bring in the goods and services into the port of a country. It is, you can see the word port. Instead of import, it is import, and when you bring it into the port of one country. And such a person is known as the importer. And opposite of this is export. Export is when you sell your goods across the boundary. It means to ship the goods and services out of the port of a country. So the seller of such goods and services is referred to as the exporter. Muhammad Nasrullah, is it your first class? Okay, welcome to class. And first we'll be discussing the basic terms, then we'll be going to the major things. So when we talk about export and import trade, two terms, balance of trade and balance of payment, comes into consideration. Okay, and balance of trade, as I have discussed with you in one of my previous classes, is the difference in the value of import and export of a country. So balance of trade is when you include only the visible items. Alright, so can you just tell me some of the visible items which we include in the balance of trade? Hello, can you all hear me? Okay, yes, oil, machinery and other types of goods which we can, which we get from the, like which we send to other countries, and we also buy it from them. That is balance of trade. Then in the balance of trade we include only the visible items, and balance of payment is a broader term. In that we include the invisible items as well. So can you just give me some examples of the invisible items which are included? Okay, services are there. What type of services, Raji? Yes, what type of services? It is for everybody. Consultancy services, okay. And who else want to give an answer? What type of services? What other types? Monachin, Prabha, teaching services, medical, okay, technology. And what about the investments that are made in the foreign banks? So in that case, we earn interest on the money invested there. That is also a part of the balance of payment. Yes, intellectual services. Okay, Prabha, intellectual services. Like suppose somebody goes on a deputation and conducts an online class there, not online exactly, conducts a lecture there. That is an intellectual service. That will be included in the balance of payment of the country. Okay? Okay, alright, Prabha. So that is the meaning, the main meaning of the invisible items. So imports are impacted principally by a country's income and its protective resources. Like how much is our capacity to pay to a foreign country, and how well are we utilizing our own productive resources. That all is taken into consideration before taking such important decisions. Okay. So now types of imports are of two types: industrial and consumer goods, and intermediate goods and services. So you all understand these two types of goods. What are industrial and consumer goods? Industrial and consumer goods. Food items. Okay. Then what else? Good evening, Sunil. Welcome to class. Good evening. Welcome to class. We are discussing about export and import trade today. So I have put up a question. Machinery. Okay. But do you think machinery is alright? We can include it in industrial good as well. Alright. Who else is going to try? Asya, Akshita, Nixon, Nazar, Sunil, Monachin, Rajiv. Soap, consumer goods. Component parts for consumption by other industries. Spare parts. Okay, spare. The spelling of spare is S-P-A-R-E. Okay. Spare parts, like suppose maintenance items. Yes, that's the perfect answer. For the industrial goods are like machinery, as given by one answer is given by one of the students. That answer, sorry. So machinery is an industrial good, and consumer goods are those which can be used directly by the consumer. They are ready for consumption. For example, in the Indian mall these days, a brand Al Kabir, you might have heard about it. Al Kabir is selling its frozen food. Okay, it's very popular in Indian malls now, especially in Ocean hypermarket. You know Ocean? Have you heard about it? Okay, you might not have heard. It's a European supermarket. So those Al Kabir is selling its good in India. So these are consumer goods. They are ready for consumption. You take it out from the packet, you just fry it or bake it, whatever, and you consume it. Then intermediate goods are the goods which are needed in the final production of the of some item. Okay. So now what is the difference between industrial and intermediate good? We can say they are very much similar, but the difference between them is that intermediate goods are those goods which can be resold to earn more profits. Suppose I talk about sugar. Sugar is an item which can be used for n number of, it can be used in manufacturing of n number of items. So sometimes some firms, they import sugar and they resell it in their own country. Yes, milk also, Muhammad. That is also a perfect answer. Assembling any goods. Okay, yes, Prabha, those are intermediate goods and services. So any example of intermediate service? Intermediate service. Intermediate services, which can help in the, what is this? MC machinery, Prabha. Tea powder. Okay, tea powder is not okay. Similarly, if sugar can be used, then but tea can be used only for one purpose. it cannot be used, like it does not have a lot of scope for resale. Okay, the sugar and milk, they have got a lot of scope, but not tea powder. Okay, so that is just a you can say it's just a consumer good. So these are the different types of imports. Now types of exports, one is physical, like if goods physically go out of the country, the things which we can include in the balance of trade. And deemed exports are those which are supplied to another entity. It means it includes the non-visible items like interest on investments, rent on investment done in the foreign country, in a property in the foreign country. Those are all the items of invisible nature and they form a part of balance of payment of the country. Okay. Now, what is the process? Export and import trade is not a very easy thing, and it's not everybody's cup of tea. No, everybody cannot manage it. It needs a lot of patience and experience to run an export and import business. What are these are the different steps which are involved in the process. The first one is you have to register as an exporter or importer. There are different agencies in the various countries of the world. So they will provide you with a form and you will have to submit certain fees along with some other documents to become a registered importer and exporter. Only then you are going to get a license. Okay. And having a license to import and export goods is very compulsory. You need to be a license holder. Okay, everybody, is that fine? Then you have to negotiate the terms of sale. Negotiate the terms of sale with the, but how are you going to approach the party who is abroad? Suppose your buyer is abroad. How are you going to approach them? That work will be done by you through the various agencies which are involved in the export and import trade. These agencies are there to facilitate the process of export and import trade and make it much more easier for the parties to approach each other and have an understanding and conclude a contract of sale. Alright, so that is negotiating the terms of sale, and this will not be done directly, this will be done indirectly with the help of the intermediaries which are involved. There are different agencies and we will see about them in the later part of the slide. Then understanding the export formalities and responsibilities towards the sale proceeds. Then understand the documentation and Incoterms. There are lots of documentation. So what are you writing, Prabha? Yesterday I heard a lady viewed by same countrymen 200,000 and in general trading business. Yes, these things are very popular. So you need to be very cautious, and that investigation and getting the correct information about the other party is done by the agency which operates on the part of the importer and exporter, and that is a registered agency. It is a government owned and recognized agency. They have a list of the registered importers and exporters of different countries. So they'll verify from those documents that yes, it's not a fake company, it exists in reality. Okay. Then for exports, complete custom formalities and obtain documents. Lots of documents need to be obtained when we are going for an export business. We discussed about some of those documents in the previous classes, like bill of lading. And what else was there? MYES. What is that, Prabha? Okay, yes, alright. Delivery note. Delivery note is the very final document. You will get that at the end. Monichin says letter of credit. Yes, letter of credit Then there is bills of lading. Bills of lading is a document which is given by the shipping company. Then commercial invoice is there. We saw some samples also in that class. So those documents are very necessary. And which document forms the basis of export trade out of these? Which document is most important? One minute. Bill of lading, Rajiv says. Nixon says certificate of origin. And Muhammad says letter of credit. But the right answer is bill of lading. Okay. Bill of lading is very important because it's the document which verifies, yes, that the goods have been loaded on the ship and they are now on the way of shipment. That verifies that the trade has been initiated physically. Okay. On paper, it is initiated as soon as you get into the process of obtaining the document. But physically, the goods are now on their way to the destination. That is verified by this bill of lading. Then, next step is to submit to the bank for onward transmission to the buyer. You have to make your payments to the bank, and the bank is going to settle your bill. Receive the sale proceeds. Okay. If you are importing, you will pay to the bank, and if you are exporting, you will get the amount from the bank, maybe in advance. And how is that done? Suppose you are exporting goods to another country and you get advance payment from the bank. Now, what do you think? Bank is not our friend, that they are going to issue goods to us, money to us just like that. They are not going to make payment like that. So what is the procedure for that? What is the procedure for that? Yes, Rajiv, exactly. It is bills of exchange. Bills of exchange is the document which is drawn by the one party on the other. Like in case of export and import, exporter draws a bill of exchange. A bill of exchange is a document which is submitted with the bank. Then the bank, after discounting it, discounting means cutting their commission. After discounting it, they will make the payment to the exporting party, and what they will do when the time will come. Normally, a bill of exchange is drawn for a period of 3 months. So when the period of 3 months will be over, or it will just be over, about to be over, they will approach the importer. An importer is going to make the payment to the bank. Okay. And in some cases, importer may not make payment to the bank. The importer may make payments to the bank in their country, and then there it will be an interbank transfer between the two banks involved, banker of the exporter country and banker of the importer country. All right. This is how you obtain your payment of money in advance, and this is very popular in the case of this export-import trade. What has Nixon written? When importer issues letter of credit, then bank blocks same amount of money from importer's bank account. Therefore, bank pays to the exporter. It is not so always, Nixon. The procedure varies from country to country. Okay, but like every country allows some kind of financial security or financial help to the exporter. Correct? This is perhaps the common method, but not always. So far, everything clear to you all? Now, what are the advantages of imports? It reduces the dependence on the existing markets. It exploits the international trade technology. Yes, like one country is having a comparative advantage in the manufacture of a particular product. So that country can exploit its resources to the maximum and earn maximum benefits by exporting that product to the other countries of the world. Like you all know, which country is called the sugar bowl of the world? sugar bowl of the world. You know that? Cuba. Yes, Nazar. It's Cuba. So why is Cuba called sugar bowl? Because it is it is exporting. Good evening, Jim Carey. Welcome to class. So we have Mr. Bean amongst us, Mr. Mask amongst us. Jim Carey is there. Is it your first class, Jim? If I am not wrong, Jim Carrey was the character who used to play Mask in movies. Mask, you remember the Mask? His name was Jim Carrey only, na, that fellow. Okay, let's just continue. You all are not interested in that. Like Cuba is called the sugar bowl. It's nothing important, Muhammad Rajai. We can just continue with the class. Okay. So, if Cuba is called the sugar bowl of the world because it imports sugar to lots of countries of the world. So now, what is the reason why the countries are importing sugar from Cuba? Why are they not manufacturing it themselves? It is not something which cannot be done in a country. It is just about growing sugar cane and then setting up a sugar making factory and extracting the thing. But why the countries are not doing that? Why are they relying on importing it from Cuba? What do you think could be the reason? It is cheap. Okay. Asya, Akshita, Sanubar, Muhammad, Surajit, Seher, Rahul, Mutharasan, Muhammad, Monichin, Nixon, Sunil, Rajiv, Nazad, Muhammad, Prabhavati, Jim. Okay. It is because, like in international trade, there is a term called comparative advantage. So the countries which are importing it from Cuba, they may not be having the comparative advantage in the manufacture of sugar. It's a theory actually. We can discuss that in the coming classes. We can discuss it maybe in the economics class, theory of comparative advantage. That is the deciding factor in case of import and export. So if a country is having a comparative advantage over in the manufacture of anything, it means all the conditions are favorable for the country, and it can, like the cost at which the other country is going to import it from them will be much cheaper than what will be the cost of manufacturing it themselves. Like if Cuba is giving sugar to Brazil, then Brazil is importing it at a price which will be less than if it will go for manufacturing of sugar in its own country. It will be too expensive for them. So that is why they prefer importing it from Cuba. So Cuba is having the comparative advantage in that. So this is made possible by the exploitation of the international trade technology to the fullest. So it extends the sales potential of existing products. It maintains the cost competitiveness in the domestic market. Yes, people in the domestic market are kept on their toes. They know that if there will be demand, then country may just start importing it from the other country. So they are not able to raise their prices to absurd level. They have to be on their toes. Now, what are the disadvantages of importing? First, importation of items from other countries can increase the risk of getting them, which is more common in the warm weather. But this is a very specific reason. It's not a general disadvantage. We can say this is a genuine reason. It leads to excessive competition. It also increases the risks of other diseases from which the country is exporting the goods. Can you give me an example of this kind of disadvantage? A recent incident has happened across the world. Which disease is that? Yes, Prabha, exactly. It's Ebola. Ebola is coming from the African countries. So trading from African countries at this point of time is really risky. Yeah. Bird flu. Yes. Bird flu came from China, I guess. Now, what are the advantages of export? It is exporting is one way of increasing your sales potential. Obviously, it increases the sales and profits. It reduces the risks and balancing growth. It sells excessive production capacity. It gains new knowledge and experience. Yes. Again, the countries which are involved in the export trade, they are earning to their maximum capacity. They are manufacturing to their maximum capacity. No resources are going waste because they have to sell to other countries. So they have to manufacture a lot, and that is what they are doing. And they are keeping pace with the changing trends as well. Now, what are the disadvantages? Extra cost, financial risk, export licenses and documentation that is very difficult to comply with. Then market information may be incorrect. And another disadvantage of importing is like one country gets to enter into another country. Like, as you must be knowing about the history of India. Britishers came for trading to India and finally they settled down. They made India a colony of themselves. So that is not any country would want. Now, what are the modes of payment in international trade? First, we are discussing about the export process. In order to complete the export process, the payment of the exported goods has to be received by the exporters. An exporter can receive the exports proceeds as dash. They can get the advance payment. They can get the payment against the documentary bills, as we discussed the bill of exchange, and they can get the payment against the documentary bills against the letter of credit. Okay. Letter of credit is also an important document in case of an export-import trade. Yes, promissory note can also be issued. Now, if I talk about India, in India there are different institutions, and most important of them is Exim Bank. Exim Bank is for Export and Import Bank. It is there to help the manufacturers as well as the purchasers in every stage of the business. They are there for pre-shipment, post-shipment they are there, investment abroad, how it has to be done, what formalities need to be followed. Then they offer advisory services, which sector will be good for a particular exporter, which country will be good and feasible. Then import finance they offer. Export product development is there. They help in the production process as well. And then marketing, that is very important. If marketing is not done properly, the goods may not be demanded. That all is taken care of by the Exim Bank. So it stands for Export-Import Bank of India. It is the premier export finance institution of the country, established in 1982. So they offer lots of services under their agents. Okay. And they not only work for the exporter and importer, they also work in the welfare of the country. They try to integrate the country's foreign trade and investment with the overall economic development. Okay. And in India, it plays a major role in partnering the Indian industries, particularly the small and medium enterprises. So they have a very important role to play. This is all about the Exim Bank. We can say the bank provides financial assistance by way of term loans in Indian rupees, foreign currencies, for setting up new production facility, expansion, modernization, upgradation, anything. Such facilities particularly help export-oriented small and medium enterprises for the creation of export capabilities and enhancement of international competitiveness. Now, they have also launched the Rural Initiative programs with the objective of linking Indian rural industry to the global market. You all know about Banarsi sarees. Banarsi sarees and Pashmina shawls. Then there are hand-woven carpets. So these are all, yes, they are from Kashmir, Pashmina shawls. These are all the trades which are done by, like these are all different forms of art and manufacturing, and they are normally undertaken by the rural people. The rural people are involved in the manufacture of Banarsi sarees, or doing embroidery in Pashmina shawls, or making hand-woven carpets and all. So these people, they have also been linked to the global markets with the help of these Exim banks. Okay. So this is the Exim Bank of United States. It is the symbol of that. It provides, it supplements its financing programs with a wide range of value-added information. They provide value-added services as well. Advisory support services which enable the exporters to evaluate international risks, exploit export opportunities, and improve the competitiveness. What are the different institutions which are there in this sector? The first is Export Credit Guarantee Corporation, that is ECGC. The main function of this Export Credit Guarantee Corporation is to, Exim Bank is an Indian bank, but every country has a bank like this. Export-Import Bank is probably existing in every country, because every country is involved in the export-import trade. The symbol which we saw one or two slides back, that was of the American Exim Bank, and data that is available is of the Indian Exim Bank. So this organization, Export Credit Guarantee Corporation, this is responsible for the insurance in the export trade. Okay, export and import trade, it looks after the insurance part, so that there is no loss due to the insurance provision. Now, octroi is the tax, or we can say the duty, which is levied by the state government when the goods enter into a particular state. So this charge is applicable to certain states and fluctuates as per the government regulations, and we are unable to confirm the amount. When imported goods, they are sent to different states across the country. So some states may put on octroi on that. So ECGC, it is a company wholly owned by the Government of India based in Mumbai. It provides export credit insurance support to Indian exporters and is controlled by the Ministry of Commerce. Okay, it is for the insurance coverage. Yes, Prabha, that is why imported goods become costly at times. This is the logo of that firm. We focus on exports, we cover the risk. That is their slogan. What does it do? It provides a range of credit risk insurance covers to exporters. It offers guarantees to banks and financial institutions. Yes, Mohammed. Risk insurance. They offer there is a lot of risk involved in the trade of goods from one country to another. There can be a storm in the sea. There can be a fire in the aircraft, or there can be any kind of risk. N number of risks are there. So such risks are covered by this ECGC. Okay. And yeah, goods can be stolen, they can be natural disasters, they can be accident, anything. So they provide information on different countries with its own credit rating. Means these are the agencies which conduct surveys from time to time, and they draw their own data to provide proper information to the exporters. And it assists the exporters in recovering the bad debts, the amount which has been lost in the business. So this is something very we don't need to go in detail into this, because this is all, they are the general provisions in the foreign trade policy. They can just vary from country to country. So the general terms are the same. Okay, now there is one term written, that is DGFT. Can you tell me what is that? DGFT is, it's the Directorate General of Foreign Trade. Every country is having a particular department in the government. That is the Directorate General of the Foreign Trade. It is the final authority in any country. Then freedom to export and import except to the extent of provisions in the foreign trade. These are the general provisions of the foreign trade policy. Now specific provisions are free exports, all exports in freely convertible currency except in specific situations. Realization of export proceeds within a specified time. Then deemed exports. Deemed exports are the services which are offered. Sorry, is repeated. Now there is an excise duty also. You might be knowing about it. It is the tax on the sale or the production for sale of specific goods, or a tax on a good produced for sale or sold within a country, or license for specific activities. So they are distinguished from custom duties, which are taxes on importation. Custom duty is paid on the goods which are imported. When we get things from abroad, we have to pay the custom duty. And excise duty is something else. They are levied on specific goods, not on every good. Okay, and it is levied for over and above the custom duty. That is why importing goods from the other country is very expensive. It's an expensive affair. You have to pay the custom duty, then you have to pay the excise duty also. So that is why things become costlier for the general public. Yes, car. Car is one item on which lot of duty has to be paid. So custom duty is a kind of indirect tax which is realized on goods of international trade. So we can say it is also a consumption tax. Duties levied by the government in relation to imported items is referred to as import duty. In the same vein, duties realized on export consignments called export duty. The tariff, which is actually a list of commodities along with livable rate of custom duty, is popularly understood as customs duty. These are the different taxes, means they are known by different names, but they are one or the same. Yes, on liquor also. Like what government do is, if it expects, like if they want to reduce the consumption or the sale of a particular commodity, like liquor, then the tobacco, then what they will do, they will imply a lot of custom duty, excise duty on such commodities, so that they become expensive and everybody cannot afford to buy them. Then if they want to promote the sale of certain things, they will make it easier and cheaper. Liquor is intoxicants, like whiskey. Makes sense? Did you get that? Whiskey, beer, wine, things which intoxicate. Alright. So what are Incoterms? Incoterms are also important in case of international trade. They are the international commercial terms. They are a series of predefined commercial terms published by the International Chamber of Commerce, widely used in international commercial transactions. Okay. So these terms make the international trade easier and help traders in different countries to understand the responsibilities and rights of the buyers and sellers. Like for every contract, specifically for every sale and purchase transaction, it is not possible to conclude a contract every time. So in that case, if we haven't concluded a formal contract, we can follow the terms and conditions given by this Incoterms. That is international commercial terms and conditions. Some of them are given, these are like the short forms which we use in case of international trade. Now there are, this is the list of that. It's like in the form of a list chart of the responsibility. It has to be taken care by every, it is mentioned like whose responsibility is. In case of transport mode, EXW, destination terminal charges will be paid by the buyer. This way, like any transport mode, free carrier, FCA, in delivery to the port, it will be paid by the seller. So everything is well defined so that there is no confusion. Okay, so now we come to the next PPT, which is on again on export trade only, but it is about export management. So as we can just make out from the name, it means conducting the export activity in an orderly, efficient and profitable manner. So and since the heart of each business is marketing, export management can be termed as export marketing management. Alright. So it has to be discussed at national level and at the business level also. We have to manage the things at both the levels. So what are the reasons why there is a need for export management at the national level? Because of like if the country is earning the foreign exchange, to maintain the international relations, to have a look at the balance of payment, have a goodwill in the world, then employment opportunities as well. These are the various reasons. Now at business level, just with reference to business, there is export obligation for higher profits. Everybody aims at higher profits. So we need to manage it with the help of export management. Then reputation and goodwill is important, and imports are liberalized. Government incentive. You understand liberalized? Liberalized is relaxed, much more easier. Now export management, how it has to be done, there are different steps involved. First is identifying the export products, market selection, SWOT analysis, export license, export pricing and costing, understanding of foreign exchange rates, export risk management, packing and labeling of goods. These are the various steps involved. Yes, SWOT. Anyone knows what is SWOT? You might have done it in some of your classes. Anybody? SWOT? Monochin? Yes, strength, weakness. Opportunity and threat. That is SWOT. Yes, Rajiv. That's strength, weakness, opportunities and threat. So for every business, these things need to be assessed. So what is identifying the export products? So it is just that the product should be manufactured or sourced with consistent standard quality comparable to your competitors. If possible, avoid products which are monopoly of one or few suppliers. Then the price of the exported product should not fluctuate very often. So these are just the simple things which need to be assessed under this point. Then market selection is important. The market should be selected where there is demand for the product, the size of the potential audience, whether the target audience can afford or not, then what the regulatory issues are that impact on exports of the product. So we need to consider all this before going for the export or import of products. Then SWOT analysis. It's a useful method of summarizing all the information generated during the export planning. And we all know what it stands for. It also have an insight into the future opportunities which are available. So we need to take care of that. Then next is export license. They are issued for the goods mentioned in Schedule 2 of this International Trade Act. Then export pricing and costing is determined by the following factors: range of products offered, prompt deliveries, then credit offered, frequency of purchase. There are different points in this: product differentiation, brand image, presumed relation between quality and price, specialty value goods and gift items. Oil prices, Prabha, they are set by the demand in the international market. Like it is governed from that portion only, from the Arab countries only. The oil prices are governed. You know, those who have the oil wells in Arab countries, they are believed to be the richest people in the world. Opaque countries are there. Yes, it's a forum of the countries. Like we have SAARC countries, we have WTO countries, we have opaque countries as well. So it includes all the countries. Like Arab countries are exporting the oil to the other countries of the world. So there's an agreement between these Arab countries and the other parts of the world, and they have an agreement, and it's like depending, everything is priced on the basis of demand and supply. So similarly, For oils also, demand and supply is the basic criteria on which the costs are determined. Okay. Then there are different formalities which need to be fulfilled, and then the costing is done. And whenever the price of oil goes down in the international market, and it is per barrel price, as soon as it goes down, the prices in the domestic countries, means the countries which are importing it from the international market, their prices, the prices of the fuel in those countries also goes down. Like recently in India, there has been a continuous depreciation in the price of petrol and diesel. It is because of the reduction in the prices in the international market, and then government also make some changes in its policy. It may just cut some of the taxes which it might have included in the oil prices. So that is how the things are governed. Now export costing is done. So it is advisable to prepare an export costing sheet for every export product. Okay. It is planning to put 2% tax on remittance. That's a different issue. Now understanding of the foreign exchange rates. So any exporter without any commercial contract is completely exposed to foreign exchange risks that arises due to probability of an adverse changes in the exchange rate. Like recently, the Indian economy was at its all-time low because of a lot of depreciation in the value of money as compared to the foreign, as compared to US dollar. You know, US is the superpower, so they are the main kingmakers in the market of export and import trade. So since money was very weak against the US dollar, so the Indian economy was also suffering greatly. But now, since the formation of the new government, the situation has changed and it's still improving. Now the Indian rupee is a little better than what it was at the time of Congress government. So, and how is this exchange rate determined? It is again determined on the demand and supply basis. And the demand and supply basis is determined on the basis of balance of payment. Exports will indicate how much revenue are we earning, and imports will indicate how much payments we have to make. So depending upon the revenue which we will get and the payments which we will have to make, we have to the rate of exchange rate is determined. Okay, everybody. Now there are different types of risks which need to be managed. Then packing and labeling has to be done. Then tools used are these, the different types of documents which we were talking about. Letter of credit, bill of exchange, bill of lading. Okay. I'm in a little hush because the class is about to be over. That is why I'm just making it very fast. Just a minute. I'll extend it so that I can complete this. As you can see, this is a very important thing. Letter of credit model. How does this operate? So there are 4 parties involved. First is exporter, seller or beneficiary. Then there is exporter's bank, importer's bank, and importer, buyer, accountant, party. Okay. So what is the first step is purchase and agreement. That is done between the importer and the exporter. Okay. They conclude the agreement. Amber, I cannot send it to you personally. I'll be sending it to the coordinator and she is going to upload it at the portal of IMTS and you can download it from there. Okay. We are not allowed to interact personally with the students. So this is the first step. Then what is the second step is the letter of credit application that is sent by the importer to the importer's bank. Okay. Then what is the third step? The importer's bank will open the letter of credit and they will send it to the exporter's bank, the bank of the exporting country. From the exporting bank, it will go to the exporter it will it will give its approval. This step is like the approval step. Then from the exporter approves of it, he makes a signature or gives his consent to that, then the goods are shipped by him to the importer. Then he is going to present his documents to the bank. Then bank is going to remit the payment to him. The payment will be sent back to the exporter, and then this bank is going to approach the importer's bank and get the money from them. Okay? Did you get it? Okay. And where is the importer paying the money? Importer is making the payment at the time of letter of credit application. When he is issuing the letter of credit, at the same time he is making the payment to the bank. Alright? Prabha, what happened? Did you not get this? Now you got it? Okay. Alright. So this is the main procedure, how it operates. Yes, then the importer's bank sends the documents to the importer. I just used the wrong notion. It's not at the time of letter of credit. It is when it is just when the bill of exchange has been drawn. It is just in that case, not every time. Then this is EXIM policy. This is this also varies from country to country. Then this is a trade act which is involved in the foreign transactions in India. That is FEMA, Foreign Exchange Management Act. And there is another one that is FERA, that is Foreign Exchange Regulation Act. So these are the agencies which we have seen. Okay. So this brings us to the end of the class. Please give your feedback at the end of the class. And thanks for your time, everybody. I felt really good to see so many students in the class today. My morale was really high. So thanks for your time, everyone, and hope you had a nice class. We'll meet in the next class, that is on Thursday. Okay? So see you then. Take good care of yourself. Have a sound sleep. Have a great week ahead. And we'll meet in the next class. Bye. Take care, everybody. Thanks for your time. Please fill the feedback form. Thanks, Nixon. So good night, everybody. Bye.